Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very sad episode of the G.A.P for a variety of reasons. But I'm your host, Matt, aka Legion Rex. With me, I have my equally as depressed co-host, Shane, aka the Bearded One. Are you as sad about mom and dad's divorce as I am?
I'm very sad about the divorce.
I'm also sad.
It could have been resolved if Dad hadn't had his affair, but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, Dad had an affair. For those who don't know what we're talking about, watch last podcast. Also, it's also very sad because we have to re-record this because Shane's internet exploded.
Like a minute in, everything just stopped. I'm like, wait, what's going on? It's usually Discord. But then it tried to update for like a minute straight and nothing was happening. So I was like, is it just my internet? And then I go down to my start bar and there's a red X over the Wi-Fi. And I'm like, okay, the internet literally just killed itself. It's like, oh, you're talking about Taboo Tattoo? No, we can't have any of that shit.
Oh, yeah. We have a wonderful show for you guys. We talk about some simulcasts. We can talk about about 5-6 pieces of news. And then we got probably a featured anime that's going to be a whole bunch of fun to talk about.
Oh yeah, define fun.
And that's Taboo Tattoo. I'm pretty sure that's one all of you are going to enjoy.
Oh yeah,
us talk about. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited to talk about it. Actually,
you know who else was excited to talk about it? Spencer.
Yes. Spencer was going to be on this podcast,
but as you can see, he's being a sleepy boy.
He's being asleep. He's asleep right now. So unfortunately, he is not in the podcast.
So you know what that means? We adorn him with the red X of shame until he shows up.
Yeah, and that's if he shows up. He has the red X of shame. May he realize that this is his punishment. For,
God rest his soul. God rest his soul.
God rest his soul. All right, so I think we're ready to get started, though.
I feel like we are.
Let's just jump right into this. Let's talk about some simulcasts. We're about halfway through the season now, so already. Mm-hmm. Already we're halfway through the season, which means that Shane, which means it's time to talk about what we think are what our 3 favorite shows of the season are so far.
Ooh, okay. Oh, that's gonna. Ooh. I wasn't expecting this.
Harder than you think it is because the season's been very, very good.
There's too many goddamn good shows this season. It's hard to pick.
Yeah. So any ideas? Any ones that stick out?
Okay, for just spitball on the top 3 here. I'm gonna say for me, my top 3 are JoJo, Bunny Girl, and Radiant.
And Radiant.
And Radiant, because, dude, you know me. I love that fucking shonen schlock.
Dumb, loud.
The dumb, loud French boys.
Yeah, French boys. But it also has heart.
It has a lot of goddamn heart, man.
It has a lot of heart. Easily my favorite of the season so far is Zombieland Saga. By a very, very significant margin. Although Bunny Girl's
up there, man.
Bunny Girl's pacing it really fast, so that's number 2. There's a bunch of others, but honestly, I want to go and I think my 3rd is probably Slime.
Yeah, I can see that.
I Slime. I love how I was going to watch this show as a joke at first.
Yeah, because we thought this looked fucking stupid.
Yeah, this sounded dumb, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch it anyways because I don't know, maybe it could be funny. Like maybe there's some maybe it's Studio 8-bit, so it might be animated really well. Maybe there's something to it, and I like. Just the way the show's been developing, I don't know what I expected. It wasn't this, and I love it. It's very similar to a lot of the shows this season. I can specify a lot of the shows this season are like very fucking are like this is a much happier season than before. There's a lot of really happy, fucking optimistic shows this season, with maybe the exception of like a couple, with the exception of stuff like with the exception of like some of the darker stuff. This is a very like optimistic season in terms of like.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more like lighthearted.
Yeah, if you discount stuff like a lot of the sequels like SAO, Magical Index, and Tokyo Ghoul, as well as stuff as well as Goblin Slayer and stuff along that line. But this is I don't know. This season's been really fucking good, and it's kind of ridiculous on how fucking good this season is. It's kind of a crime, to be honest.
Yeah, because remember back in the spring when everyone said, "Oh man, this season fucking slaps," and then fall came around and was like, "No, we'll show you what fucking slaps."
Yeah. This season is fucking slapping right now, and like even some of the shows that are turning like even Banana Fish, who like went over to this season, still really fucking good. So really good. So like
that just shows the quality of that. But in terms of shows that I actually want to talk about, I only have one. Do you have anything you want to talk about, Matt?
Not necessarily. The only thing I mentioned is that I have started Goblin Slayer. And I will not have thoughts on that until probably next podcast. I want to give it a couple more episodes, because right now my opinion is really wishy-washy on it. So I gotta collect them a little bit. But I do like the only show I would want to talk. I want to hear what you want to talk about, because it might be the same show I want to talk about.
Okay, the only show that I want to talk about is Golden Kamuy, because
I'm not caught up on this. So
no, I was talking to you guys about this the other day. Golden Kamuy might have just had its best episode yet. And that's saying something, because Golden Kamuy from the beginning has been nothing but quality. But I feel like this past week's episode 17, really knocked it out of the park for a lot of reasons. One, it had a really stellar chase scene where Sugimoto and the crew had to escape Tsurumi's soldiers by stealing a fucking Zeppelin. So just picture that. And then there was a sword fight on the Zeppelin, and it was great, which just shows how much Golden Kamuy's action really enhances the plot, because remember back when I watched the first episode, I'm like, I'm iffy on this. Like, it's good, but it's not as good as I was hyped up for it to be. Don't ignore that. Ignore like 6 months ago when I said that, because I'm a fucking idiot.
This show's amazing.
This show's incredible. And it really baffles my mind that its action in particular can be this consistently good, because that Zeppelin scene was top-notch. And not only that, but then the second half of that episode, we had some really great emotional development with Sugimoto and Asurpa, because Sugimoto and Asurpa were caught in a windstorm and they had to take shelter. And it really started to delve into the psyche of both characters, specifically Sugimoto, where Asurpa was talking to him about the war and what he was like before the war. And then that brought up the question of, will you ever be able to go back to the person that you used to be? And that's a really weighted question to ask someone who's a war veteran, because you'll know PTSD, survivor's guilt, all of that stuff is really relevant with soldiers and war veterans and stuff.
Yeah. And so the answer is that usually they can't. So,
So, and then when she asks him that, he has a really emotional flashback to what he was doing before the war. And he talks about, you introduced me to so much food, but there's one food you introduced me to so much food, Asurpa, but there's one more food that I want to eat after this is all over. And he has a flashback to him hanging out with his friends before he was a soldier. And apparently there's this brand of Japanese plums that he loved. Like, they're sun-dried plums, and he used to eat them with his friends all the time. And he thinks about that, and he just starts breaking down, crying. And I think that's the first time we've ever seen Sugimoto actually cry, which is such a milestone for his character, because up until now he's been portrayed as the really, hardened war veteran. Sure, he has a goofy side, but he's really cold, emotionally distant at times because of what the war has done to him. So just to see him break down in tears like that was such a great moment. And then the episode ended with him and Usurpa embracing each other. And it's such a tender moment. It makes you feel good. And I was crying. I was like, oh, Golden Kamui, you're tugging at my feels, dude. And I was like, man, that was a great episode. I can't believe that it got, like, that much of an emotional reaction out of me. And then it had the fucking balls. Because Golden Kamui, as we all know, is fucking stupid. So it can't go 5 minutes without being stupid. So after that tender, loving moment between Sugimoto and Usurpa, just split second right after the credits, Shiraishi's in a deer butt. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is Golden Kamui. Yeah, it's still stupid. Never mind. Forget everything I just fucking said.
Golden Kamui is like, oh yeah, this emotional moment. Yeah, Shirashi in a deer butt.
Yeah, guess what? Shiraishi's in a deer butt.
And it's funny.
And the thing that got me the most was that it played the scene so seriously. It goes right into the credits. You think everything's over. And then, like, split second, just a single frame right before the preview, bam, Shiraishi in a deer butt. And it's like, all right, way to undermine everything you just did, Golden Kamui. Bravo. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about.
Golden Kamui loves to do that.
Golden Kamui loves to fucking subvert your expectations. Like, oh, we're gonna have a really heart-wrenching, serious scene. Nah, we're just gonna have a guy in a deer butt. Fuck it. That's all I wanted to talk about, because that episode of Golden Kamui really, really impressed me. Just because of what it did.
Great. There's not much I want to talk about, because most of my opinions have not changed. The only show I want to mention, and that's because I want to mention that Shane was right, is that Ulysses. Ulysses is garbage. Do not watch it. So that's all I have to say about that. Though I'm pretty sure that most of you have already followed that advice, considering that I didn't, and I was an idiot. So
yeah.
Hi,
I was chasing a barking dog. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I was just mentioning that Ulysses sucks.
Oh, yeah, Ulysses sucks.
So
like, dick.
It sucks dick, and I am very fascinated, but I am fascinated by how bad, like, it's the type of bad where I'm like, this is really fascinating on, like just on how on every conceivable level this is bad. So I'm very, very, for the life of me, I'm going to keep watching, only because I'm very curious as to what exactly it's going to do next.
Nothing good.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But I will be there to report it for you, because I am an idiot. So
yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Matt's a masochist.
I'm not a masochist, okay?
You seem very much like a masochist sometimes.
I look, man. You can't appreciate good anime if you've not seen and sat through bad ones.
That's true. That is very true.
That is my argument. Plus, the more bad anime you watch, the funnier it gets. So it's like a Stockholm Syndrome effect.
Yeah, so you're basically taking yourself prisoner.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, pretty much. I think we're pretty much done with simulcast, though.
Yeah, there's really not much to talk about that we haven't already.
Let's move on to news. We have a couple pieces of news. Some of them are pretty big ones, so we'll make sure to discuss them. First piece of news. Last podcast, we spent quite a bit of time talking about live action anime, and how it's becoming more and more prevalent, and how there's and mainly due to the announcement of a live action My Hero.
Coming off the tails of the actual My Hero movie.
Yeah, actual My Hero movie. Another anime adaptation has just been finalized. That for an anime adaptation that's been long rumored, and it's fine, but it's finally happening. Attack on Titan is getting an American adaptation.
Right. I heard about this.
Attack on Titan is getting the Variety reported on Monday that Warner Brothers finalized a deal with Japanese publisher Kodansha to produce a feature film based on Hajime Isayama's Attack on Titan manga. Andy Muschietti, who is the director of It and It Chapter 2, which should be It Chapter 2 should be out sometime next year, will be on board to direct the film. Barbara Muschietti, who's Andy's sister, Masioka, who's the current producer on Masioka, who is a Japanese producer who is a producer on the Netflix Death Note, as well as a producer on an upcoming live action Mega Man film, because that's happening. And David Heyman, who is the main creative force behind the Harry Potter adaptations, will be producing the film. Apparently, they've been talking with Kodansha for over a year about the rights. Ever since before January of 2017. So this is a deal long in the making. And this is not the first, and as we all know, this is also not the first time that Attack on Titan has been adapted into live action.
Nope.
There were two live action Japanese films back in 2015 as a two-parter film that more loosely adapted the manga and instead told and went into its own direction in a way.
And guess what? Everyone said it sucked dick.
They aren't good. Not horrible, but they're not good. Mainly because they just don't understand Attack on Titan at all.
No.
Also because it's directed by two people, and the directors fought on set about what the film was about. So there's that. Whether or not this is going to be a remake of those films, because at one point it was reported that it was going to be a remake of those films, but now it seems to be hinting that this is going to just be a brand new adaptation of the original manga as opposed to the live action films. Shane, I want your opinion on this because I have strong thoughts on this. Do you think Attack on Titan could work in live action or no?
I mean, I want to say no because they've already tried and clearly it didn't. But I feel like Attack on Titan is something that you could properly adapt into live action. It just depends how you do it. Because, of course, with something like Attack on Titan, you're going to need a huge budget. Because if you're going to deal with something like...
That was the biggest issue with the Japanese ones, is that because they didn't give them enough money, basically.
Yeah, if you have a big enough budget, you're going to need it for Attack on Titan. Because those Titans are going to have to be ridiculous.
It has to be a big budget. The problem with Attack on Titan is that it's going to be expensive. And normally that's not going to be an issue. We've seen Hollywood spend billions of dollars before on shit that bombs. Yeah, fucking spending. Remember John Carter? Yeah, nobody does. But the big issue is not that it's expensive, but that it's going to be expensive, and it has to be R-rated. That's the big deal. Yeah. That's the big problem here.
You can't skimp out on an Attack on Titan movie. That shit is hard R or it's nothing. Yeah.
That's just a hard R, and just for violence alone.
Yeah.
I don't believe Attack on there's no sex. There's very little actual language in it, at all, strong language, at all. Outside of Levi. And so it's literally just the violence is so visceral and so bloody that it needs to be R-rated.
Yeah.
And now the good thing is that I trust Andy Muschietti's a great director. He did It last year, which made a ton of money for Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Like if you're gonna get anyone to direct it, he's a very good pick because of course Attack on Titan needs to play into its horror elements, and
this guy's a horror director.
He did it, so he knows horror.
He did it, which was one, very good, and second, like, it was a R-rated movie that made a fuck ton of money. So like it's one of those, so Warner Brothers probably felt confident in giving him the job. Although this is not the fun fact, this is also not the only anime adaptation he's currently tapped to direct. He's also tapped right now. But I don't even know if that's still I think that project might be dead again. So I don't think that's happening.
I missed that.
Robotech.
That. Okay.
Yeah, he was tapped to direct that. But that's still, we don't know if that's happening still. So like, I think that might still be dead. The other thing that gives me hope is David Heyman, who's producing. His work on how adapting Harry Potter is something legendary in Hollywood now. It's something iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he did with Harry Potter when it first came out, like with the whole thing of like, we're gonna adapt all these books, we're gonna do it in real time, we're gonna get like the actors of age and we're gonna have them age with the movies. Like that was like unheard of at the time. It was unheard of. It was like ambitious as hell,
mm-hmm.
and obviously it paid the fuck off. Getting him on board, especially as someone who did that and is also someone who prides fidelity to source material, I think we might have I think he might be a good fit for this. I think that this would very much benefit. There's no writer though, and we need a writer. That's the only thing we don't got, is that there's no writer. I would not be surprised if Andy Muschietti writes it himself because he is a writer.
He could.
But I don't think he's going to because he wasn't attached to. So, but we'll get more news. Since we have a director and producers, we're probably going to get news about a writer very soon. And we'll keep you all posted on that when we do get it. Moving on. We have a lot of Netflix news.
Netflix kind of went to fucking ham.
A lot. First piece of news for Netflix is that there's a new anime exclusive anime on Netflix coming on December 3rd. Very, very soon. It's going to be from Studio Period, and it's called Hero Mask. It's going to be 15 episodes long. It will center on a string of horrific incidents that all revolve around a mysterious masked detective James Blood works down the track, chase down the truth of the incidents. The anime will have 15 episodes, and this was announced like literally like a couple of days ago, and it's coming out in a month.
James Blood.
Yeah, James Blood. He's American, so that's the most American name you can like.
That's the most unintentionally edgy name you could ever come up with.
James Blood, yes. Other names include Sarah St. Clair, Lennox Gallagher, Edmund Chandler, Harry Crichton, Grimm.
Oh God.
Fred Faraday. These are like American names you'd find in like an old fucking old noir. Which is like all that fucking. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that Japanese actually know of America at this point.
Yeah, this to me feels like a Japanese person trying to write something American. It's like, oh, what's an American name? James Blood.
James Blood. Ooh. The big deal though is that this is going to be the directorial debut of a unit director named Hiroyasu Aoki, who was also the unit director for a lot of shows that we really like, including High School of the Dead, Hunter x Hunter, and No Game No Life. So this guy, he's going to be the director and writer for the show.
Dude, all you had to say was Hunter x Hunter. I'm sold.
He worked on. He was a unit director for a couple of episodes, not the whole series, but like a couple episodes. He's also going to be the animation and the character designer the character designer is the same guy who did the animation for the new FLCL and a lot at Eden in the East, Haikyuu, and all that Kuroko Basket, a lot of other stuff. And in terms of so this show comes out on December 3rd, probably with an English dub as well.
Yeah.
It's only going to be 15 episodes as well, which is not too bad.
That's a weird episode count.
That is a weird episode count, but whatever. It's on Netflix.
That's like when Angels of Death came out and said, "Hey, we're gonna have 16 episodes." Like, what?
Okay.
No show ever has 16 episodes. What the fuck?
But I guess Hero Mask is going to be 15 episodes, and it'll be on Netflix soon. Speaking of other stuff, Netflix announced a fuck ton of anime.
Yeah, they went fucking ham with this shit.
They went ham. Now technically, only 3 of them are technically only 3 of them are going to be made by a Japanese company. The other 2 are technically not Japanese, but we're going to be discussing them anyways because I think one of them I am really excited about. The big one, of course, let's start with that one because that was the news. That was the big one. That was like the big one that was in the news every time. Pacific Rim's getting an anime.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Craig Kyle, who wrote Thor Ragnarok, and Greg John X-Men Evolution will be co-showrunners, and the story will follow 2 siblings, an idealistic teenage boy and his naive younger sister, who are forced to pilot an abandoned Jaeger across a hostile landscape in a desperate attempt to find their missing parents. If anyone here has not seen Pacific Rim, fucking watch Pacific Rim.
Yeah, watch Pacific Rim because it's fucking nuts.
It's nuts. It's awesome, and it's like the best action film of the decade that's not named Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's absolutely amazing, and if you haven't seen, it's definitely one that like not only does every anime fan need to watch it because it's basically a live action anime, but also like I think just anyone who's a film aficionado should just watch Pacific Rim. It's so good.
Yeah.
And the other non-Japanese thing is a Filipino animation, basic anime, which is called a Trece, which is about a supernatural investigator who solves crimes in the city of Malina, where figures from Filipino mythology interact with the modern world. So imagine it's like a detective story, but with gods and mythical creatures and all that shit. It sounds dope. Although the name of it is Trace, the name of the graphic novel is Trace, and one of the fucking books is called Book of Murders, and I'm like, is this Black Butler?
Yeah, is this Black Butler? Like Book of Circus, Book of Murder, Book of the Atlantic?
But I'm excited for that. But let's talk about the fully Japanese stuff. One of these is called Kagista of an Insect Cage, which is an adaptation of the manga the same name by Kacho Hishimoto, which is technically also a fan-made doujin series. It was not published by an official company. It was self-published, so technically it's classified as a doujin. Kyoichi Chigara, who was the director of Tokyo Babylon, Fullmetal Panic, and Lag's Exile, will be directing the anime for Gonzo. The series will be set in a post-apocalyptic world where a mysterious disease, Kagster, turns people into giant murderous insects, and it will follow the struggle of a young couple to stay alive during this time. The series has been confirmed. It will be a full CG show. It will not be. It'll be a full CG. They released some screenshots of it. It doesn't, and the CG looks pretty good. Especially on the bugs.
Well, what is this, Earth Defense Force?
What is this? What is this? Terra for Mars? It looks pretty. There's no release date for that. The other one is one that I think sounds dope as hell, and that's Yasuke. It's set in the war-torn feudal Japan of mechs and magic, and a retired Ronin must take up his sword when he's charged with the task to transport a mysterious child who dark forces want to eliminate. Technically, while it has mechs and magic, and it's like obviously like fictional. The story's protagonist is actually based on a real life historical figure who's Yasuke, who is a African samurai who served under Oda Nobunaga during the 16th during the Warring States period in the 16th century in Japan.
So would you say this is an Afro samurai?
Oh,
Is Samuel L. Jackson going to play the lead role?
There is a lead role. It's Lakeith Stanfield, who is currently best known. He was currently, if you're a film aficionado, you probably know that name because he was in Sorry to Bother You earlier this year. As well, he was also in Get Out last year.
Mm-hmm.
But anime fans will probably best know him as he played L in the live action Death Note. As probably the best thing about that movie. So
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he was, and he was actually really fucking good as L.
He was just wasted on a shitty movie.
He was just wasted. Yeah, it was just wasted on shit. He was just wasted. So like it's but he will be voicing Yasuke. The director of the series will be the creator, director, and executive producer will be Lacine Thomas, who is also the creator of another show that is widely beloved, which is The Boondocks. And you'll also be doing the upcoming anime Cannon Busters for Netflix, which comes out sometime next year. Flying Lotus will be composing the music. If that name sounds familiar, is that because they did the music? Is that they've worked on a lot of anime? They've started to work on a lot of anime recently. Specifically, the one their claim to fame was that they did the music for that Blade Runner short about last year.
Yes.
And Mappa and Studio Mappa will be animating it,
which sold.
Yeah, sold. And the other one is not a show but a movie, and that Altered Carbon is getting an anime spinoff. And the only reason I care is because it's being written by Dai Sato, who is the same guy who wrote let's see, Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, Ergo Proxy, and Eureka 7.
So he's got a good track record.
Yeah. But since it's a spin-off show, if you've not seen Altered Carbon, which I actually recommend it because it's actually quite good, you will. This is probably not one that you would be interested in. But apparently it is not a direct sequel or an adaptation of it. It's a spin-off that is going to be more of like a separate thing, so you might be able to enjoy it like as a standalone. All right, so, and I think that's all for Netflix. Netflix did announce a lot.
Yeah, Pacific Rim sounds fucking awesome as an anime. Yasuke in particular is the standout in terms of like just the wholly original stuff, because that sounds fucking dope.
Yeah, that sounds dope as hell. We're gonna keep an eye on all of these because these all sound lit. But let's move on. Let's talk about Crunchyroll and Funi and their divorce.
Yeah, mom and dad are getting a divorce today as of this recording.
And of course, if you don't know in a divorce, they need to split on what both sides get. And Crunchyroll has a part. We're not going to go into the entire list because there's way too many to actually go through. But Crunchyroll has a bunch of shows that are leaving and joining the platform. All the titles that are leaving Crunchyroll will be subbed versions of anime that are owned by Funi. While a lot of Funimation's English dubs that they did for Crunchyroll will be heading over specifically to Crunchyroll. Some of the notable dubs that are leaving Funimation going to Crunchyroll, that'll be exclusive to Crunchyroll, include Ace Attorney, Berserk, Bungo Stray Dogs, 91 Days, Free, the first season of Free, Island, Kanko, Mob Psycho 100, Nanbaka, New Game, V0, Saga of Tanya the Evil, the show we're talking about, Taboo Tattoo, Ancient Magus' Bride, Boros Mononiken, Tespin New Devil, Sister New Devil, Twin Star Exorcists, and Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches are those are the ones that leaked out as that's going. For stuff that's leaving Crunchyroll to go to Funi, some of the ones that are of note that you should be of note, just in case you have a Crunchyroll and not a Funi, and this season only leaves. These are some of the big ones, and that's Ass Class, Overlord, first season of Overlord, Noragami, Yu Yu Hakusho, Seraph the End, Cowboy Bebop, High School DD, D Gray Man, Sun Scientific Railgun, Steins Gate, Shampoo, Psychopaths, BBB, Blood Bucket Battlefront, Hyoka, Grimgar, Fantasy and Ash, Claymore, and Hetalia are like the big ones that the subs. The one though that scares me and Shane though is leaving, and that's Nichijou.
Yeah, because this thing is a fucking licensing nightmare, apparently.
This thing's a licensing nightmare. This thing was initially owned by Bandai, who picked it up when it first came out, or Bandai or Genion or whatnot. But then but immediately, like after they picked it up, like I want to say, like a month later, they went out of business.
Unfortunate.
So then they lost the rights, and then Crunchyroll picked it up at one point for like just the standard streaming. They didn't license it; they just got the streaming rights.
Yeah.
But then they let it lapse, and then they lost them, and then it went into license, and then it left again. And if that was like that for several years until Funi saved it, and now it has a Blu-ray release, sub only. That's why it's not on Funimation's website, because it's sub only, and this was during the partnership, so all the sub stuff went to Crunchyroll. Now that Funi is prepping to get sub stuff again, I would not be surprised if Nichijou makes its way over to Funi.
Yeah. Because this is the one, because I looked at the list, and you know, as someone who has both a Crunchyroll and a Funimation account, I'm not worried about any of these, because one or the other, like, I don't really care as long as I can watch it. The one that I was worried about the most though was Nichijou, because Nichijou, of course, has had a fucking history with licensing issues, and they just recently, like this past summer, put it back up on Crunchyroll after years of it being gone. I was like, okay, it's on Crunchyroll. Finally, I have a chance to watch it legally. I can actually watch it. And then, of course, when they're like, oh yeah, mom and dad are getting divorced and dad's taking Nichijou, bye. I'm like, ah, shit. Because, like, what if there's the slim chance that Funimation doesn't carry it over? What if they just let it go back into licensing hell? Which both of us don't think they're going to do, because that's just stupid. And since they're all about subs as well as dubs now, we both assume that Funimation is going to take it over to their website. But, you know, slim chance that they don't. How many times is this going to be, Matt?
This is going to be the third time in a row that it's lost license, that it lost its license. And
that's scary. That's actually worrisome.
So thankfully, I don't think they're going to lose it, because Nichijou is a beloved show in the anime community. So I don't think that Funi will let it lapse.
Yeah, hopefully they don't. We'll find out later today, I guess, because the divorce papers are being finalized as we speak.
Yeah, divorce papers are being finalized. Cries.
I cry eternally. And unfortunately, we didn't have... We should also mention, this is the tentative list they gave us. This isn't the finalized list of everything that's being affected. Of course, we'll be getting that list later today, but as of this recording, they haven't released it, so we're just going off what we've been given. So, just disclaimer.
Mm-hmm. So, but that's the stuff that's leaving. We will, if there's stuff that we miss, or like stuff that's actually leaving permanently, we'll cover it next podcast. The final piece of news is about an anime that we're all really excited about. And that's Watanabe's new anime, Carol and Tuesday.
Carol and Tuesday.
Which is now with an E, by the way. Carol has an E now.
Oh, shit. Character development.
Yeah, Carol.
Did I break you?
I don't know. I didn't expect. But the official website for Carol and Tuesday, the new original anime by its supervising director, Satoru Watanabe. He's not directing this. He's going to be overseeing it. He's the chief director. This is not something he is directing. It's going to be more of a space dandy where he just oversees it.
Mm-hmm.
Anime Studio Bones began streaming a commercial on Wednesday. There is a commercial for it, albeit it doesn't show shit.
Which is probably good.
And there's no animation in it. The website also unveiled more staff members, a story synopsis, and character profiles. It confirmed the anime's collaboration with synthesizer and keyboard brand Nord and guitar maker Gibson. They're collaborating with fucking Gibson for this.
Wow.
And a new visual. The big news from it, though, is that the anime has been already grabbed by Netflix.
Like, this is, like, what, roughly 6 months before it airs, so...
Yeah, and Netflix already snatched it up thanks to a licensing deal it has with the programming block for Fuzi TV. This is the Plus Ultra programming block, and it has... laugh it up. Yeah, laugh it up. Laugh it up.
That's not My Hero related, right?
No, it's not.
It's just called the Plus Ultra block.
Yeah, it's meant for like older anime for an older audience, or it's like stuff.
Oh my god. Okay, continue.
Because they have it's the same thing. The same thing happened to Ingress. The same thing happened to Dragon Pilot. The same thing happened to Sirius the Jaeger. So all of this stuff was picked up by Netflix beforehand. The director of it will actually be the actual director for the anime. His name is Motonobu Hori, who is making his directorial debut on this show. But he's been the key animator for a bunch of stuff, including but not limited to the Berserk Golden Age movies, Alpha CL Progressive, Dragon Pilot, Blue Exorcist, Ghost in the Shell Arise, the Ninja Scroll TV show, Kinomozume. He worked on Spirited Away, Steam Boy, Sword Art Online, Psychopaths, and he was also that Blade Runner, again, that fucking Blade Runner short showing up again. He was the key animator for that.
So a lot of credibility here.
Yeah, this is his directorial debut. He's been overseen by Watanabe. The character designer is the same character designer who did a show that we covered earlier this year on the podcast, and that's his name is Tsunori Sato. He did the character designs for Blast of Tempest, and he also did the character designs for Sword of the Stranger. Which you've not seen Sword of the Stranger.
Watch Sword of the Stranger.
It's amazing. The music now, of course, you may be wondering, who's doing the music for it? Because Kill on Tuesday is a musical based show, so you got to know who's doing the music. Well, it's going to be a Canadian music artist.
Oh no.
His name is Maki. Okay, he's Canadian. He's Canadian Japanese. He's Canadian Japanese. His name is Maki. This is going to be the first anime he's worked on, and he was chosen by Watanabe specifically after listening to one of his albums. So he was discovered by Watanabe, which I'm very curious by. But here's the thing that I think people need to know about Kill on Tuesday before going in, because I was surprised. I was kind of shocked by it, and I think that some others will be too. Because what this show's actually about. So here's the story according to the website. 50 years have passed since mankind began migrating to a new frontier, Mars. It's an so already...
Continue.
Yeah. It's an age where most culture is produced by AI, and people are content to be passive consumers. There's a girl scrapping a living in the metropolis of Alba City. She's working part-time while trying to become a musician. She's always felt like there's something. Her name is Carol. There's a girl born to a wealthy family in the provincial town of Osho City. She dreams of becoming a musician, but nobody around her understands. She feels like the loneliest person in the world. Her name is Tuesday. A chance meeting brings them together. They want to sing. They want to make music. Together, they might have a chance. The two of them may only create a tiny wave, but that wave will eventually grow into something larger. So let's talk about the fact that this is a fucking sci-fi.
Okay, so number one, plot twist of the fucking year. Like,
it's a science fiction.
I was not expecting them to be colonizing Mars.
50 years have passed since they colonized. Mars is already colonized.
Like, they're just like, yeah, fuck Earth. Like, let's go to Mars. Like, what?
This is also not the first anime that Watanabe's worked on with Mars as a main place.
Number 2, who the fuck names their kid Tuesday? That's a day, silly.
I've met girls named Friday.
Well, their parents are dumb. Like, you don't name your kids after fucking days, dude.
Fucking Tuesday. I think what's also surprising to me is that this show is still classified as a romance, which means that this is a fucking LGBT romance.
Which means it's a Yuri.
Which means it's a Yuri done by Watanabe.
This is gonna be incredible. Like,
this show is gonna be great. The thing is that since Netflix picked it up, since it airs in April, and it got picked up by Netflix, and so far I have a sneaking suspicion since Netflix picked it up, it's either going to be like a Violet situation where it's airing simultaneously, or it's probably going to come out sometime in September of that next year, like September, October.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
we are going to get it by the end of 2019, which is good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the fact that Netflix picked it up was a red flag for me, because we all know how Netflix likes to handle its anime. But at the same time, they picked it up enough in advance that I feel like they could, if they wanted to, do a Violet scenario with this.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know if they're going to, because Violet was a weird situation where the show was fucking like just was done when they finally aired it. Like the Violet was done. So there's no so basically, like in the case of Kill on Tuesday, it all depends on like how far Bones is into the production of it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Which, who knows? Bones are busy boys lately. So.
But I am very, very, very excited. And what I find interesting is that I just learned this. Carol and Tuesday is trying to cast unknowns for the leads. They held like musical auditions to find like the exact right people for this. This, honestly, the more I hear about this show, the more I get really excited.
Like, okay.
This sounds really good.
Like, alright. Real talk. A sci-fi musical Yuri from Watanabe, the guy who did fucking Cowboy Bebop, done by Studio Bones?
Yeah.
Like, stop, my penis can only get so erect.
With like, imagine the animation detail. Imagine it, Shane, and just imagine the character animation.
Anyway.
That's Shane orgasming right there. That's the noise he makes for the orgasms.
Yes, that is the exact noise to a T. When I do it on a girl, I go, and then she's like, "What the fuck was that?"
All right, so we're moving the fuck on. I think that, and
is that it for news?
That's it for news. There's no anime sales numbers because they didn't come out this week, so there's none of that. So I think it's time we moved on. I think.
Oh boy.
Are you ready, Shane?
I'm not ready.
Are you? Well, we're doing it. So, time to cover our featured anime of the podcast. As you all know, we tried to get Shane used this meta and failed miserably.
You know, I'm not taking the fall for this one this time because I did everything right. It was literally the randomizer decided to fuck me that day.
All right. Yeah. We're gonna be covering the action mystery show. The action mystery. I use that air quotes. A mystery.
Yeah, it is a fucking mystery.
Action mystery seinen. The action mystery seinen Taboo Tattoo, directed by Takashi Watanabe and written by Mayuri Shikazima and Masamitsu Okake. It was animated by JC staff and aired for 12 episodes from July 4th, 2016 to September 19th, 2016. And if for some reason you desire to watch Taboo Tattoo, it is currently on Funimation. Is currently on Funimation, at least not until and at least not starting today. It's gonna be on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, when this episode goes up, it'll be sub and dub on Crunchyroll, so go there. If you so desire to torture yourself, go for it.
If you so decide, highly recommend it. Go watch. It's on. It will be on Crunchyroll. It will be on Crunchyroll, available to watch.
What's this show about, Matt?
All right, so Taboo Tattoo follows Seiki, who is a high school kid who on his way home from school when he saves a homeless man from getting beat up by some thugs. After he saves them, and the homeless man gives him a strange tattoo which grafts itself immediately to his hand when he uses it. This brings him into the middle of a conflict between the U.S. and the Kingdom of Brannon, who both desire the tattoos for equally stupid reasons. That's pretty much the show, because honestly, I don't know. Like, half the time, I don't know what the hell this show's trying to do, to be completely fucking honest. This show is really bad. This show is not good. Shane, what did you think? What did you think of Taboo Tattoo?
The show sucks, dick! Like, oh, fuck, dude. This show is fucking...
really bad.
It's something, alright. Like... This
show's funny.
Like, okay. I have never had so many yet so few feelings about a show before in my life. like when I started watching this, it started off okay, like meh. It went from meh to bad to funny to boring, back to funny, back to bad. And I'm like, at this point, it's such a weird roller coaster of painfully dull emotions. Like, I don't know what the fuck this show is trying to be. I don't know who this is for. I don't even know what the fuck is going on. I watched 12 episodes of this, and I read the synopsis, a full synopsis afterwards, and I still don't know what the fuck happened. Like, nothing in this goddamn show makes sense. None of the characters are interesting aside from a few, and even then, they're limited because the show sucks donkey wiener. Like, I don't know, Matt. I don't know.
This show is all right. So you all remember Big Order from a couple years ago?
This is Big Order with tattoos.
This is Big Order with tattoos and better animation. That's pretty much it. It's like
the only saving grace of the show is the animation, and even then, it's widely inconsistent.
This is the type of bad show that, like, you watch and you're more just in awe of, like, its badness. You watch it and you're like, I have no idea who greenlit this, but
yeah,
whoever did.
I can't imagine being the guy who saw this and was like, ship it!
Ship it out. This is perfect.
Air quality. This, it's gorgeous. It can't be any better than this. We've nailed it.
This is a perfect anime, like our masterpiece.
Like, someone looked at this and said, "This is good enough to air on television. Like, this is good enough for people to watch."
This aired on television in Japan. This aired on television.
Clearly, Japan has very low standards.
This aired on television on TV Tokyo.
Boy.
Boy. But let's get right into it. Let us rip this fucking thing to a new one. There's no good episode of Taboo Tattoo.
No, there isn't.
No, there isn't. But in all fairness, we'll give the benefit of fairness. And Shade, would you please tell us what is the episode of Taboo Tattoo that annoyed you the least, or
okay, well,
you like the most?
This is an interesting one because, like Matt said, there are no good episodes in this show. All of them are the same level of shit. But when it comes to favorite, like, I went back and forth. I could say episode 7 because it's just mindless action. I could say episode 11 because it's basically the same thing, but with dick jokes. But in the end, for literally no other reason than one specific thing, I'm gonna say my favorite episode is episode 10 because it gives us the greatest character ever conceived in an anime.
Gil Carter.
Gil Carter.
Yeah, Gil Carter. This man shows up for fucking out of nowhere, like, oh yeah, my name's Gil Carter, I'm ready to shine, and then dies immediately.
Like, he shows up out of nowhere. Literally, he has not been in the show up until this point. Episode 10, out of nowhere, he jumps off a cliff and he's like, my name's Gil Carter, it's my time to shine! And then, bam, his head's gone. In the span of 3 seconds. Like, second 1, he jumps off the cliff. Second 2, he says his name. Second 3, his head is gone. And it's glorious. For no other reason than that, episode 10 is my fucking favorite, because that is one of the goddamn funniest things I've seen in forever. Please, Matt, tell me what your favorite episode is.
It's episode 10.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, not just for that note and moment, because that moment is fucking hilarious. But also, I think in general, if you want to have like a funny bad time, episode 10 is exactly the type of episode you would watch, because that episode's fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
That episode's so, from the first minute in, fucking one of there's a character who's running on a dock. They just stop, and then the character model just slides the rest of the way there, and that's in like the first 30 seconds. So like there's like, what do you? So from that moment, you're like, yeah, you know you're in for something good. Mm-hmm. But that entire episode is straight up just a fucking hilarious train wreck that just keeps on piling on the because with this show, with a show this bad, I think that it's easy to make fun of it, but you have to, but if you want to pick like a favorite episode, I always pick the one that entertained me the most, and episode 10 entertained the fuck out of me.
Dude,
that
like
episode
the
was
fucking
entertaining.
The Gil Carter scene alone, I was like, yeah, this episode was worth it for those 3 seconds.
Yeah, my name's Gil Carter. I mean, by my time.
My name's Gil Carter. It's my time to shut.
Like, who even was that? Like, why?
I don't know, Matt, and that's why it's so goddamn funny.
All right, Shade, who's your? Now, as you said, Taboo Tattoo. There are no good characters in Taboo Tattoo.
There are in Taboo Tattoo. There are characters that suck, and then there are characters who suck a little less.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character out of all though?
Okay.
Who's the one that?
Like, again, I had a conflict thinking about this, because I could go with Izzy, because Izzy is one of the only characters in the show that actually has like an arc and is actually tolerable at times. I could go BB, because BB is unironically
Uncle Tatum.
Yeah, unironically a pretty good character, other than the fact that he's in and out in like 3 episodes, so he's kind of worthless.
He's unironically actually a pretty good character, if it wasn't for the fact that he's in it for like very little and he doesn't really do much.
Yeah, but I think you might agree with me. My favorite character is fucking Tamaki.
Agreed. Yeah,
because that fucking boy, like, if you're talking again, no good characters in the show, but Tamaki is unironically a great character in a shitty show. Because
Tamaki, yeah, it's a great idea, great concept for a character. He's an otaku who is convinced that he is the main character of his own show.
Yeah, and he has a fucking cosplayer girlfriend who he meets at a con before they go on the final mission. He's like, don't worry, babe, I'll come back alive. And then she's like, no, you're not. You're setting up red flags for yourself. If you keep talking like that, you will die. And he's like, don't worry, babe, I'm a AAA protagonist. And she's like, no, in your own story, you're the hero, but in the real world, you're just a background character. And, like, I love it. Like
that's like the funny thing is that that's a genuinely great idea for a character.
Yeah,
and because we mentioned this show technically takes place in the U.S. And Tamaki is like, I think, one of the only 2 Japanese characters in the show, along with Seiki. At least in the main cast.
Like, all right,
And Toko as well.
Yeah. With Tamaki, like every time he's on screen, it's unironically a great time because they just made him a fucking nerd, and it's great. And you are like convinced because they're playing it up like, oh, he's the red flag character. He is going to die, which makes it all the better when he's the one who lives at the end.
Yeah, when he lives through. So yeah, Tamaki is genuinely like it's like the show's shitty except for him. When he shows up, it's like let's go.
And it's made even better that he's actually kind of a badass.
His fight in episode 11 is unironically like it's actually like pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
When he fights Tiger from Juni Tyson who wants to get fucked to death. And it's just a really awkward sexual tension between the two, and then he like fucking bashes her into a bed of spikes.
Yeah, and it's surprisingly badass.
Yeah, Tamaki is like the only like sufferable character in the show because the rest of the cast is like insufferable.
The rest of the cast is either annoying or boring. Or
pedophiles.
Let's talk about least favorite. Oh yeah, let's talk about least favorite though, because this is going to be interesting because there's a lot up for the picking. There's a lot up for the picking here.
Speaking of which, my least favorite is a pedophile. So,
who is it? It's Arya. It's
Arya. It's fucking Arya.
Arya's a shitty villain.
Like Arya's a shitty villain. She doesn't do anything other than like a monologue and her fucking bravado, like a cocky bitch way. And she's so horny, dude. Like she can't keep it in her fucking pants.
She's horny on main, guys. She's horny on main. She can't keep it in her pants. She's horny on main, and it's and
like this show convinced me that Arya is like a pedophile sex offender, like a child sex offender, because not only does she molest anything that moves, that includes children, because I'm pretty sure that fucking the Schrodinger's cat girl, who I forget her actual name because I don't care.
It's
pretty sure she's underage.
Iltutmish, that's her name. I think
Iltutmish. Pretty sure she's underage as fuck. And
yeah, I think so.
And Arya's not only horny for her because she's like, "Don't worry, I'll bleep you later," but she totally plays into it. She's like, "Ah." Princess.
And you would think that like, oh, maybe it's just a joke, but then something the end of the episode happens and they actually fuck.
No, they actually fuck because it cuts back to them and she's like laying on top of her and she's like knocked out. She's like, oh man, that orgasm was great.
And it's like, oh no. Fun fact, the person who voices Arya in the dub is the voice of Kale from Dragon Ball Super.
Oh, fucking Dawn.
Carly Mosier.
Oh.
Kale is Kale. Yeah.
I was thinking of Caulifla. Never mind.
You dumb.
Sorry, the show made me actually stupider.
You lost brain cells. My least favorite character is the most annoying character in the show, Toko. I hate Toko.
You know what? Okay. I unironically liked Toko at the beginning because even though they play her stereotypes up to the fucking extreme, I like those kind of characters. Even then, they do nothing with her.
I do too. My problem with Toko is that she's like the bad version of that character who doesn't understand why they're good in the first place. Like, okay, she's the stain. Her whole thing is that she's the childhood friend, love interest. That's what she is.
Yeah.
That's her entire character. My problem with Toko is that you could remove her from the show and nothing would change.
No.
At all.
No, it actually wouldn't.
And nothing would change at all. And some people give the argument that, because Toko dies like around like 2/3 of the way through the show. And
yeah, episode 8 specifically. So
yeah, episode 8, Toko dies. In any other show, Toko's death would be like this really ballsy fucking move on the part of the writers. Because you would be like, oh shit, they just killed off like the main love interest. They had to build them up, and like they were like, they're like going well. but then just dead.
Dead. Like, out of nowhere. Like fucking Ilutamish turns into her fucking, like, lion form or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And then Toko's like, I gotta go protect Seigi! And then out of nowhere behind her is the fucking lion.
And just,
It's like, oh!
Yeah, her death is funny,
Just
by the way.
chomps that bitch.
Yeah, no, and fucking the worst fucking part of it is the fact that fucking okay. My question is, why the hell would you bring a fucking child to a war zone?
I don't know, Matt. Let's ask Spencer, who finally showed up.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to everybody. My fucking phone died.
Well, charge your phone.
Yes, but anyways, so I hear that we're talking about the worst episode.
Yes, no, we're talking about the worst. We're talking about worst characters. You missed.
Well, the worst character is obviously fucking everybody.
I mean, he's not wrong.
But no, Toka's the worst. Yeah, Matt's correct. She really doesn't do anything except for just be a love interest with big boobs and to get molested. And
which, yeah, if you saw the thumbnail for this video, accurate.
There's a lot of very forced ecchi in here.
Yeah, ecchi that wasn't on the tin. It wasn't exactly.
It wasn't on the tin, but we weren't told about it. To be honest, it's not really that bad, but like.
It's not, but
it's distracting.
It is distracting.
But yeah, no. And the fact that, yeah, Toka's like, Seigi, I'm gonna be with you for. Oh, I just got eaten by a giant monster. I hope this doesn't cause any forced character growth.
Oh no.
That isn't even character growth because he grows more when a person he's met for like 3 or 4 days gets devoured by himself, and then we get forced backstory.
And
the show sucks.
The show's bad. The show's bad. Let's because we're done talking about specific. Let's rip into it. Let's just rip the fuck into it right now. Go over because we'll talk about. Let's just talk about all the stuff that doesn't work. Shane,
this show sucks, donkey dick.
No show. Okay, what doesn't work in this show?
Basically everything. Like, okay. Like I said, the only redeeming quality of the show is the animation. Because when it wants to, this show pulls out some tremendous fucking animation. Really detailed character art, fluid movements, great choreography. It's unfortunately wasted on a trash fire, where literally everything else fails to deliver. Even in the animation department, which is the only good thing about this show, even then it's wholly inconsistent. Because the fights will have amazing animation, but then everything else cuts corners.
Everything else cuts corners, and it's very, very, very obvious. Let's talk about the fucking editing for this show.
Oh my god! Okay,
the editing in this show is hilarious. The editing show is funny.
If you wanna teach like an editing class in a film course, make them watch this as a prime example of how not to edit something. Because holy god,
this is a mess.
This is a fucking trash fire, dude. Like, I don't know who the fuck was in charge of editing, but fire him.
He'll never work in the anime industry ever again.
Because not only is the editing sloppy, again, it's inconsistent because some scenes will be decently well edited, and then other scenes like you just smash some keys on the keyboard and hope that it created a scene. And that goes back into the animation too. Because even though the animation is great sometimes, the cuts aren't nearly as long enough as they need to be. So the fact that you have these really short cuts mixed with the horrible editing creates like a clusterfuck for the eyes.
2-second cuts followed by the shitty fucking constantly rotating camera that for the first fight, you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. That's unique. And then by like episode 2, you go, okay, yeah, I'm sick of it.
No, by the end of episode 1, I was sick of it.
And then fucking Taboo Tattoo's cuts. The Taboo Tattoo's cuts make the Bourne movies look restrained. The cuts make like modern action movies look fucking restrained as hell. And like it's one of I will like if you do like a frame by frame of this, I want to bet that like some scenes are literally just random garbage thrown at the fucking screen for no
I would
reason.
not be surprised if you go through this frame by frame that some scenes are literally just a single frame just thrown in there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I also would not be surprised. You know what? Just fire both the editors, because the sound editing in this show.
It's incomplete. I refuse to believe it is anything but incomplete.
I'm gonna bring up the fact that sometimes the music just stops.
yeah.
Like there's a cut, and then the music just stops.
This is it. Fucking the music will just stop, and not on one of my favorite cuts, like one of the funniest cuts, is in the middle of episode 5, and it's when Arya and Seigi meet for the first time.
Yes.
And Seigi gets fucking Arya basically makes out with Seigi. The music is playing. It cuts away to Toko. It cuts away to Toko and Iltutmish.
Yeah.
Music cuts out for comedic effect, but not for a little bit. It's for not for a good chunk. For a beat. It's literally for a second, like a frame, and then it just keeps going to back where it was. And it's so jarring, and it's so jarring. And it is actually fucking ridiculous. It's actually fucking ridiculous, to be completely honest.
Again, what we were saying earlier, someone looked at this and said, "Yep, ship it. It's good."
This was shipped, aired on Japanese television.
From second one, this show made no sense. Let's look at hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Matt. Thanks for saving me from those punks. Here's a tattoo.
Yeah, fucking Christ.
What's this tattoo supposed to do? I was like, oh, there you go.
Well, it's wow, I saved an old guy from being mugged, and he thanked me by giving me a tattoo, and now I just have superpowers.
And I have I have the triggerless tattoo.
Which has a trigger, kind of, not really.
They they do a terrible job explaining it. It's the show, they convince them that it's blood in order to not freak them out.
And that's it. By the way,
that could have been easily explained too.
But there's the scene in episode 1 where his tattoo actually absorbs the blood. So you're like, oh, okay, blood's his trigger. That could be a really cool dynamic where it's it goes into the moral ambiguity of it. Where does he get the blood to power himself up? Does he hurt people? Does he hurt himself? You go into that morally gray area, you could make something pretty interesting. But then fucking Bluesy Fruzy over here is oh my god, it's the triggerless tattoo. I've never seen anything like it before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Izzy's real name is fucking Bluesy Fruzy, by the way, which is the stupidest name of all.
And they call her Izzy for short, and it's
how do you get Izzy from any of that?
Yeah, Izzy's a better name than fucking Bluesy Bluesy Fruzy sounds like the name that somebody thought Americans sounded like.
No, you know what that sounds like, Matt? That sounds like
Shredfield is the name that Americans think.
Fucking Tom Shredfield, that killed me. But you know what Bluesy Fruzy sounds like, Matt? It sounds like it sounds like a limited edition Kool-Aid flavor.
It does.
It's not like they come out in the summer. It's like, try our new Kool-Aid flavor, bluesy fruzy. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, fucking
Fucking-
bluesy fruzy. It sounds like Booberry. You remember Booberry? That shit.
Fuck, dude. No, Bluesy Fruzy sounds like somebody who isn't all mentally there is describing fucking blue Gatorade.
Bluesy fruzy.
I was like, what does it taste like to you?
Bluesy
Bluesy?
Fruzy. Also,
Bluesy.
did you realize that in a Japanese school she wrote her name in English? Like,
Well, because
They
she is
even-
American, so
She is American, and also they do teach Romananji over there, so it makes sense.
true. However, it just made me
Bluesy
laugh. She goes to a
Fruzy.
Japanese school, which isn't even like a high level school. I'm pretty sure Justice is in fucking
It's a standard high
yeah,
school.
standard high school, and she doesn't write it in Romanji. She fucking just writes it in English. She goes, "Hi, I'm Bluesy Fruzy."
nice to
If
meet
I was
ya.
a Japanese person, well, one, I would pick on the guy whose first name is Justice, but that's besides the point.
That's why they call him Seigi.
Yeah.
How do you get
Also-
Seigi from Justice? Is my fucking question.
I want to see.
How the
Okay,
fuck?
you guys
No-
keep talking. I'm gonna
nobody
see.
else-
I'm gonna look this
Yes,
shit up.
Okay. Because I'm almost positive that in the entire 12 episodes, she only gets called Bluesy Fruzy probably like 2 times.
And it's usually by a villain who's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you Bluesy Fruzy, the lieutenant."
Everything else is Izzy. Just call the character Izzy. Why the fuck did you call her Bluesy fucking Fruzy?
Because it fucking oh, and I just looked up Seigi.
No.
What?
Okay, so justice in Japanese is Masayoshi,
Not Seigi.
not Seigi. So where the fuck did they get Seigi? I was
This is written by a
convinced.
Japanese person. The Japanese person.
No,
Japanese-
because the fucking this show is dumb. Because I was convinced that they were like, I was convinced that Seigi was just the Japanese word for justice, and that's where they got that from. Apparently not.
Fucking apparently not. Also, fucking let's talk about some of these other names. Colonel Sanders is a fucking character named after KFC.
And it's Brigadier General Sanders, but he wants you to call him Colonel because he thinks it sounds cooler.
This is the
Yeah.
most American character in the history. This character's more American than Michael Bay.
And it makes perfect sense that in the dub he's voiced by Chris Sabat. Like,
Mm-hmm.
genius.
He's genius, yeah, amazing, fucking top tier casting choice, obviously. Fucking Lisa Lovelock. Okay, can we talk? Okay, fucking BB's real name is probably the most edgy name in the history of Brad Blackstone.
Brad Blackstone.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
sounds like a
just call me BB for short.
It's from the name. It sounds like a name from like Kekai Sensen, to be honest. It really
It does.
Yeah,
It
just
does.
add another B on there, and you're good to go.
He is the living incarnation of BBB.
The fucking blockade. No, oh god. So I was like, hey, I wonder what the names of some of the characters are. So I went onto the Taboo Tattoo Wikipedia page. Under characters, there's only 3 entries, and it's Bluesy, Fruzy, Iltumush, and Segi. That's it.
Yeah, those are the only characters that exist, clearly. Like, no one else in the show exists.
Can we talk about the greatest character of all time? Fucking Cal Stinland.
Cal Finland we did, and it's fucking great.
Very, very quickly. Worst episode, episode 8. Best episode, episode 11. Worst character, Toka. Best character, Tamaki. There we go.
Yeah, okay, we all agree then.
Yeah, we all agree then.
No,
Tamaki's
you're
the
wrong,
best
Spencer.
character.
The best character is fucking Gil Carter.
Gil Carter.
Gil Carter is an American hero.
He's a goddamn national treasure.
Can I? Fuck it. 1 second. Live on stream.
You know, I'll take the time to give
we
a
go.
word from our sponsors then. Okay, let's see what we got today.
Where we at today?
Okay, this episode of The Gap is sponsored by Funimation. Funimation, of course, being the single greatest dubbing company in the history of Japan, you can go to Funimation.com/The Gap to get your free 37-second free trial of Funimation Now, where you can watch all the latest simul-dubs as they're airing, as well as many other catalog dub titles, and newer subtitles coming soon.
That is www.funimationnow.com/The Gap. Now, pimp my name.
Oh god, what? Did you change?
What the fuck? Rip Gil Carter, American Hero. I am mad. I am the hero.
I am the hero of Taboo Tattoo.
You know what? Gil Carter should have been the main. I want a spin-off of Taboo Tattoo about Gil Carter, like 12 episodes, all leading up to that moment.
Oh my god! Make it like a spin-off where it follows the events of Gil Carter up until the point where he gets to the canyon.
I would fucking watch the shit out of that.
I would want no. What?
No. I was just saying, like, it is really sad when a character that shows up for about 5 seconds is infinitely more interesting than 99% of your cast.
Hey, my name is Gil Carter. It's my time to shine.
I just realized that the guy who has the whip.
Yeah.
The male horny guy, as opposed to. I just realized that all the villains in this are horny as fuck. By the way.
Oh yeah.
The villains are just horny. Like
they're all a bunch of horn dogs.
They're fucking horny on main, dude.
The horny on main. I relate, but at the same time, no. At
the same time, stop molesting children. Anyway.
His name is R.R. Lurker.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
What the fuck? I didn't even know his name. The show never told
Lurker.
What does RR stand for? Ridiculous rabbit?
Ridiculous. I don't know what the fuck it stands for. There's what? Can we just talk about the guy who turns into a bug at the end for no reason?
Tell me, do you know his name?
No, I don't.
Do you know his name?
All I know is that he's the captain. He's the head of the military.
He's the dude who shows up at the beginning. He's wearing a fucking classy suit and a top hat.
I love his design, so I was like,
and he just turned into a giant beetle.
And then just fucking kamikazes.
He just turns into a fucking dung beetle.
Fuck it. Let's talk about the fact that I counted at least twice, and that was me paying attention to this show. Character models literally sliding into frame.
Yeah, join the club, dude.
Episode 10, when Cal is on the fucking docks, dude.
Try
slide.
Try episode 9, when fucking BB is trying to escape from being molested by the rape crew.
Okay, all right.
This show is a lot funnier when you think about it. The more you think about it, the funnier this show gets.
When the fucking rape crew comes down and chases BB into the alley?
And fucking... What the fuck is this?
What?
I typed in fucking guy who turns into beetle Taboo Tattoo, and I got an AMV.
Taboo Tattoo?
Yeah.
So, my god, no.
Oh yeah, I forgot this. This show has a 5.96 on Mao, and there's a bunch of people who give it a 10. I think there's fans of this show, dude. There's people who are fans of this show.
I would hope that it's unironic.
I hope it's unironic. I hope it's okay. I would rather it be unironic than ironic. If it's ironic, then you're just being dumb. If it's unironic and you act. To you, I'm not gonna rip on someone for actually it's
well, clearly you're a man of culture.
Clearly you're a man of culture, because this show's amazing.
Okay, before we
talk
get
about Professor Wiseman on who the fuck is he?
Who the fuck? He's the fucking they try to make this go full circle. It's like, oh, he's the guy who gave Seigi his tattoo.
It's like, all right.
Why? Where did he come from? What are his motives?
Chess. He's playing 3D chess, dude. He's playing like 4D chess, and he's like
He's playing 4D chess.
He's playing 4D chess, manipulating both sides. That will never get resolved because this show ends on a fucking cliffhanger, and never ever will get a season 2.
Okay, I want to talk about episode 12 because episode 12 is unironically the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So let's go through a nice timeline of Taboo Tattoo, just real quick here. Episode 1, main character saves old guy, gets tattoo, is triggerless, ? Meets Americans. Episode 2, shit happens. Episode 3, I genuinely forget the stories. Episode 4, I think this was the one with fucking the copy tattoos and Iltimish.
A copy tattoo. That what? I don't know. Fuck. That's the one with. That's the one with Lisa.
Okay, never mind. That's the one with Lisa and the fucking PS1 FMV CG.
No wait, that's the one with the capybara and the cat.
That's the one with the capybara and the cat.
Okay, I have 3 things to talk about before we wrap this up. So just keep going through the timeline.
Okay. So then Lisa gets kidnapped by the rape crew. And then you're like, man, Lisa's pretty cool. I hope I get to see what... Is that a capybara opening a door for a cat? This show's the greatest show ever made.
Yeah.
Episode 6, I think they're at the island now.
Yeah, the episode 6 is BB.
Yeah, it's fucking Brad Blackstone.
And then they fight Dr. Genius.
They talk Dr. Genius.
That's his fucking name.
He's because he's like, I am a genius, and then the person is like his, I want to say his girlfriend or like his partner is right.
I think it's his assistant.
Yeah, his assistant is like right there, and it's like talking about how much of a genius he is. Episode 7 is the one. It's the raid.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
8 is when Toka and BB die.
Yes. For no discernible reason, by the way.
9 is the flashback.
10 is
Gil Carter.
Gil Carter. That's it.
11 is Dick Jokes.
Episode 11 is Dick Jokes and Mindless Action. And then episode 12 is fucking kaiju fight!
Is a kaiju fight, followed by the entirety of season 2 in about 15 to 20 seconds.
Dude, that was 2 of the 3 things I wanted to talk about.
Alright, let's talk about the kaiju fight, because this shit's fucking like...
This shit, okay. Totally not joking, being completely serious. This shit gives Pacific Rim a run for its money. Because, oh my god.
No, I can't believe Taboo Tattoo decided to cross over with Gridman, SSS Gridman at the last with Gridman.
Like,
this is a crossover more ambitious than Infinity War.
Like,
that's what that is.
Being completely serious, did either of you guys expect the finale to be a fucking kaiju fight?
If you had told me before I watched this fucking show that this was going to end with a kaiju fight, I would have laughed in your face.
Well, guess what, bitch? It fucking happened!
And it happened, and I'm like, what?
I would have like
they get consumed by the source of their tattoos, which turns them into giant monsters.
Which by the way, Voidmaker makes no sense.
No, Matt, none of the fucking tattoos make sense.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have a couple questions for you, Lisa. How the fuck can you just use air to cause explosions? Not like sonic booms, like fucking fiery FMV explosions.
Dude, she's fucking Kira from JoJo. She is just fucking the Killer Queen.
If you want to get technical, you can technically heat up the air large enough to create an explosive reaction, so that kind of makes sense.
Dude, she's just fucking Killer Queen with Stray Cat.
She
turns the bubbles into bombs.
Don't just go, hey, what's up, Izzy? Oh, yeah, that's my fucking Colonel Sanders voice. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Man, you have a small rack, LOL. Don't worry, you'll grow into my big melon soon enough. Oh, I got kidnapped. Ooh.
Shane, what?
So, the 3 things I want to talk about was the kaiju fight, which is something else, like... Fuck.
It's not a good fight either.
No, it's not. It's horrible.
It's awful.
Like, it's awfully edited. There's, like, no animation. They just keep reusing the same cuts over and over again, which is hilarious. The fact that the entirety of season 2 is in the last minute of the finale, like they couldn't even keep it in their pants long enough to see if they get a second season, so they're like, fuck it, let's just do it now.
The fucking like, hey, it's like season 2 coming, let's go.
So now the American government is involved now, and they got to go to the North Pole for some shit.
They got to go to the North Pole. Arya's sisters are now involved, and they got tattoos. I kind of want a second season to see how bad it could be. To be honest, I'm very like I
think it broke Matt.
Like it would be amazing. But what's the third thing you wanted to talk about?
The fucking cats are the ultimate life forms.
Cats are fucking heroes.
I was making this joke for the entirety of my viewing. Cats are the fucking dominant species on the planet, apparently, in this fucking show, because they're the only smart people in this entire series.
Not only are they the only intelligent beings in the entirety of this show, but they're so intelligent that they can meow in subtitle. Like they're not cats that speak English. They meow.
When fucking Izzy was like, "Oh, what a cute cat," and the cat was like, "Fuck off, bitch."
Yeah, the cat's like, "The hell's your problem? Get the fuck out of here." Like, I love the fact that the cats are not only the most intelligent beings, but they're so smart that they don't speak English, but they meow, and therefore, that can be translated perfectly into English to give subtitles to what they're actually saying.
And what they're actually saying is, like, subtitle on the lines of, "Yeah, I got a fucking fish, what do you got?"
1 second,
I got a fucking fish, what's your problem?
I'm gonna go on YouTube and see if I can pull up that scene.
The cat was just insulting them.
Oh my god. It's like, yeah, I got a fucking fish. What the hell's your problem? Get the fuck out of here.
Forget about it.
Okay, last thing before we wrap this up. Can we talk about the fact that this show, like, there's no ending?
This show just ends.
It just ends.
This show's hilarious, dude. This show is so funny.
Like, this show wastes so much time trying to explain things that make literally no sense, and then it ends on a fucking dime.
I hate it when fucking shows do this. Like, they explain shit that doesn't need to be explained.
When was the cat? Was that episode 2?
That was episode 4.
3.
Was it episode?
It was episode 3. It was episode 3. Yeah. And the capybara for the cat was episode 4.
Yeah,
and that was the episode right after it.
Like, this show wastes so much time trying to make sense of things that don't make any sense at all. And then it has the balls to just end things on a whim. Nothing gets resolved. Like, the kingdom isn't defeated, Arya isn't defeated. Like, it just ends, and then they go about their lives, and then season 2 happens in the last minute, and it's like, oh, okay. Alright, whatever you say.
Yeah, fucking, like, the thing is, too, is that fucking, like, the only thing that's even remotely resolved by the end is, like, Seiji's character arc, whatever arc he fucking had.
Yeah, did he even have a fucking arc?
His arc was him basically learning to, like, basically, like, it was basically an arc that of like, do I keep my ideals or no, pretty much.
Do I keep my ideals, Saray?
Saray, yeah. That was pretty much his arc, and at the end of the show, he's like, "Yeah, I'll keep my ideals."
God, I forgot that in season 3 there was just a fucking 15-second just shot of people walking away for no discernible fucking reason.
Yeah.
Oh, in episode 3, yeah, there was that.
So, like, this everything on the production side is fucking incompetent. Other than some really great animation at times. The editing is atrocious. There's unnecessary CG. Like, I don't even know if this had a director. I'm not fully convinced this had a director.
They had the director of Slayers, Boogie Pop Phantom, Shakugan no Shana, Freezing. He's done stuff before. He's a good director. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know, man.
Wait, no, she already has the cat in episode 3, so it has to be episode 2.
I don't know, man. The cat is the best character, though, along with Gil Carter.
Gil Carter is an American hero. You cannot tell me otherwise.
So, is there anything else we want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Taboo Tattoo is a masterpiece of awfulness. That's pretty much all.
Like, unironically, it's shit, but ironically, the best goddamn comedy you could watch.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny. All right, so
I could feel my fucking depression getting more serious as I watched.
Like, fucking okay,
show.
like, before we wrap up, I'm gonna tell a story, because this happened, like, 2 days ago. Spencer was finishing up Taboo Tattoo at the university. Matt and I went to go get food, and on our way back, I was like, man, he's probably at episode 12 now. I can't wait to see his reaction. And we walk up the stairs, and the first thing we see is Spencer sitting there, shaking his head at the screen.
it's like
In awe.
Yeah, I was like, yep, there it is.
And then I was like, yo, spoilers! It's a fucking kaiju fight! I still can't get over the fact that the show ends with a kaiju fight! Oh my god!
That's never explained. It's
Del
never
Toro,
explained
is that you?
No, it's never explained on how they can become kaiju.
Like the
ever.
source of their tattoos swallows them, and instead of killing them like it did BB, they just turn into giant monsters? So clearly this shit's situational.
Oh shit!
What?
I think I found it.
Okay, what does the
What
cat say?
What the fuck does the cat say?
Let me see. I'm just waiting for it to play out. It's Case Justice like yelling at the cat, like, "Hey Toka, don't fucking mess with the cat." And Toka's like, "But I love the cat."
I love this fucking cat, dude.
1 second. It's Oh wait, there you go. Okay, so yeah, so Toka's like, "Hey, is it a cat? The hell's your problem?" "So I'm a stray cat with a fish. What are you gonna do with me?" "The hell? The hell's your problem?" And then, "Huh? You want to fight?" Hey, wait, there's like one more thing that he says, which is, "Get out of here. I'm gonna mess you up, bitch."
The cat straight up says. The cat says that, like, it's subtitled, and it meows and just says, "I'm gonna mess you up, bitch."
Like, the fuck's your problem? Yeah, I got a fucking fish. What about it? Fuck you.
I'm a stray cat.
Hey, forget about it. Forget about it.
Like, the cat's a fucking New Yorker.
The cat's in New York. That cat came with Izzy from fucking New York or some shit. Like, I think it's time for final ratings.
Yeah, I think it's time we wrap this shit up.
Yeah, it's fucking final ratings. Spencer, what do you give this show?
I give this show as an actual anime a fucking 1 out of 10. This is the most terrible, dreck-filled, disgusting, fucking, sometimes lazy-ass fucking anime I've ever watched, and I'm so glad that I never have to see this again. I created a new folder in my anime tab, which is Nuclear Fallout, and that's where it will stay for the rest of its life. But the quality is pretty solid, 7 out of 10.
I think the kaiju fight was what made his comedy rating go up. Because he was like, as a comedy, this is like a 6. Now it's a 7.
Kaiju.
I feel like the kaiju fight brought that up a bit.
Fucking, Shane, what do you give Taboo Tattoo?
Okay, so again, this entire show just sends me into like a spiraling depression. Like, this show has made me think so much, yet so little about everything. Life, the meaning of humanity, why we were created. And I'm thinking, is this the worst show I've ever seen? Because, like, you know, Nakaimo was terrible for separate reasons, and
Nakaimo's at least competent.
Nakaimo is a much more competent production. But I hate Nakaimo just from a moral perspective. Like, there's shit that happens in that show that actually disgusts me. So I'm hesitant to give it a lower rating than I did Nakaimo, but oh man, this show is a mastercraft in shit. And honestly, I'm not even lying. I think I think some of Matt's masochism is rubbed off on me because I'm tempted to watch the sub now.
I'm tempted to watch. I'm tempted to show. Okay, I'll explain. But I'm tempted to show this to people because this is funny.
Because you know what? As an actual anime, I can't recommend this to any human living right now because it is fucking atrocious on literally every level. But as an unintentional comedy, you need to watch this shit immediately. There are links in the description. Please go watch it.
It's what's your score, Shane?
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give it a 2. I was gonna give it a 3 because I'm like, I still think I hate Nakaimo more.
But it's too incompetent.
It's too incompetent to pass it up. So I'm gonna give it a 2. As a fucking comedy, I'm gonna give it a Pop Team out of 10. Because this rivals Pop Team in terms of hilarity.
Yeah, Taboo Tattoo. If you know how I rank my scale, once things go below a 3 for me, that usually means that the thing's incompetent as fuck.
Like, there's literally no salvaging it.
There's no salvaging it from, like, any stand. Like, at least with a 3 or on my scale, which is without also bad rankings, at the very least, with some tweaking, they could work. They could work, and there's stuff that's there, and there's stuff there that I'm like, you know what? I see some good in this. When it hits a 1 or a 2, it's an incompetent fucking mess, and Taboo Tattoo gets a 2. Only thing that's saving it is its decent animation.
Mm-hmm.
Is its decent animation and like some pretty and the occasional fight scene that may be pretty cool. Specifically, any of the ones with Tamaki and that first one between Izzy and Seiji.
But even then, they shit the bed so hard because the editing's so atrocious, you literally can't tell what's happening.
Yeah, so this gets a 2. As from an enjoyment perspective, this is a clean 10 out of 10, boys. I can't recommend this fucking show enough. If you have a bunch of friends, just get a bunch of friends together. Get some booze, get some drinks, pour out a couple, and fucking watch it. It is you will not regret it. You won't regret it. It's going to be a fun time.
Take a shot every time the show's internal logic is wrong.
Take a shot every time you see a CG explosion.
Take a shot every time the camera rotates. You will be wasted by the end of episode 1.
And it'll be you'll be wasted, dude. It's cool. So definitely fucking
for those at home.
At home, please drink responsibly.
Responsibly, and that gives our average rating a 1.6 out of 10.
I think this is the lowest score for the show. I think this is
this is the lowest scoring show we've had on the podcast all year. Which is saying something because Nakaimo is a thing.
Yeah, but the thing is that Josh and Spencer gave it above 5, so that's why it's higher than most things. I think it's higher than. I think the average score for Nakaimo was actually higher than Ebiten. Which is Ebiten's a clean 5. I think the Nakaimo's like a 5.2 or 5.3. So I think the Nakaimo's higher than Ebiten.
Anime fans are stupid, and anime was a mistake. Go watch Taboo Tattoo in the link in the description. You won't regret it, unless you do, in which case, you can get a gun.
You can get a gun. I mean, we warned you, man, that it's good. Also, do you want to know how they pronounce Bluesy Fuji's name in Japanese? Bruji Fuji.
That's like fucking Blaze Blue, like Brebaru, Kurosatega Batu.
Black Roba.
Can we wrap this up?
We will not sully that with Black Roba. Black Rover's way too good for. Fucking. I think we're pretty much done. It's time to pick the next anime on the podcast. Next podcast will be our final. Final North Standard podcast of the year. As we head into the end year end. As such, and I believe it is my pick for the next podcast. Is that correct, Shane?
Yes, because my last pick before we did Month of Spook was Flip Flappers, so it is your pick this time.
It is my pick, and I am very excited. And I was thinking, like, what should we end the year on? And after Taboo Tattoo, I feel like we should end on a high note. And we're gonna do a first on the G.A.P. A first on the G.A.P. and we're actually gonna go back to a show we've already technically covered.
Yes, we haven't done that up until this point.
It will happen more in the future. Don't worry. We will go back. We always love going back to shows we love, and we're going to go back to a show we covered because they had a new season that wrapped up about a couple months ago, like around a month ago, and I think it's time we cover it. Let's go back to My Hero, boys.
Yeah!
We're going back to My Hero. Next podcast, we're going to be covering season 3 of My Hero. It's going to be a real fun time. It will be also our final standard podcast of the year, and we'll have more. As for what will, but it will not be our final podcast for the year. For our final podcast of the year, there will be more. We'll give you more information next podcast. So
we can finally talk about the summer camp, the hideout raid, the license exam. Fucking Mirio
Deku versus Bakugo, All Might versus All One, Deku versus Muscular, Tetsu versus Mustard. We can finally talk about
Inarisa versus Todoroki.
We can talk about we could talk about fucking All Might running away from his students because they thought he was a villain.
We can talk about filler.
We could talk about Mirio. We could talk about Overhaul. We can talk about all of that.
We can talk about the big 3. It's gonna be a fun time.
It's gonna be an absolute fun time. We're gonna finally talk about it. I think with that we're pretty much done here. I am your host, Matt, aka Legion Rex. You can find me on Twitter and you can find me on YouTube as well. With me, I have my co-host Shane, aka the Bearded One. You can find him on Twitter as well, where he is doing an FMA rewatch. If you want to follow him as he's rewatching the entirety of FMA, he does this yearly, but this is the first year in a row that he is transcribing his thoughts. Honestly, Shane, you should do that for more shows. Post that stuff like that on.
I honestly should, but I'm not as confident in my analysis work as you are. So I usually keep quiet. But for something as close to my heart as FMA, I felt like I had to get my thoughts about it out there. So go follow me on Twitter at BeardedGamingN if you want to hear me talk about FMA, which is goddamn amazing.
Yeah, go follow him. He's also too at the Bearded Game Network. You can he uploads unboxings, let's plays, podcasts, a bunch of other stuff, possibly streams sometimes.
Whenever I have time.
Whenever he has time, and he's busy right now. But with that as you can also find him there. Also, we have our other co-host Spencer, our late co-host Spencer. Spencer, you can find him on Twitter at Beery Burton.
That's with 2 E's.
It's a 2 E's.
Yep.
And I think with that, we're ready to wrap up here. So I hope all of you have a wonderful. I hope you all have a wonderful couple of weeks, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time for more My Hero, and also make sure you watch Taboo Tattoo. Like, get on that shit.
Yeah, get on that.
Thank you for listening to The G.A.P. If you like what you've seen, you can subscribe to the G.A.P Podcast YouTube channel to get the latest podcasts as they go live. Be sure to like and comment and let us know what you guys think of the show. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.